Since we last talked, I've read 5 books, I've started 3, and I have many on the horizon I'm super excited about, so let's chat books. Hi, I'm Lacey. Thanks for coming to my channel. I love reading and I love talking about everything I read, so here we are for another book chat. It's been a while. I honestly just didn't have time to film a video, and so here I am now. And obviously we need to start off with all the books I finished since we last chatted. Okay, we're gonna start off with the reread I did for February, March, which was The Nickel Boys. I loved this so much more the second time around. It was such a beautifully written book. It's about a boy named Elwood who gets unfairly sent to a boys' reformatory school called the Nickel Academy. I really wanted to reread it because I had a harder time getting into it the first time, and a movie came out about it, so I wanted to refresh my memory before I watched the movie. The movie was amazing, by the way, but obviously I always will think the book is better, and this book is just remarkable. I definitely recommend to anyone who wants to kind of gain more context about the institutions and how they started and where they came from, or how different they are from where they are now, which sadly a lot of it isn't that different, but it was just a beautiful read. I'm glad I reread it, and it was 5 stars the second time around too. Another book I read, which was shocking for myself, was A Court of Thorns and Roses, or ACOTAR. I have a reading vlog coming out on Friday about this book because I wanted to have like my first time reading it documented. I ended up loving it. I rated it 4.75 stars. You can't see because I moved them all, but I already bought all the other books of the series and they're huge, so it's taking me a second to get into it, but this is one of the most popular fantasy books that I've ever seen anywhere, and it's about a girl named Nesta. It's about a girl named Feyre who kills a wolf and then has to pay the consequences of killing that wolf by kind of going into the magic realm. It was so good. I had so much fun reading it. It was a very enjoyable read. It is a great intro into fantasy. It's not super difficult to read. I found it very easy. I found it very exciting from the start, and I just loved it. And I can't wait to read the next books in the series, but they're huge. So I already started A Court of Mist and Fury, and I'm about 7 pages in, but when I read that one, there will also be a vlog. But it was so fun. I read it for my book club, and all of our book club picks have been a hit, so it was great. Okay, and then there's 3 more books that I've read since we last talked. One is called The Chateau. It was about 4 girls who came back to the chateau on accordance of one of the girls' grandmother, and they hadn't been there in 20 years, and they kind of are unraveling secrets. I thought it was fine. It was okay. I believe I rated it 3 or 3.25 stars. It was fine. It was an easy read for the most part. There was some that was kind of hard to get through. The plot twists made sense to me. They weren't super shocking, but it was a good story. But it was nothing like remarkable where I would really want to read it again or even recommend it necessarily. It's a good read, but it was just that. It was just good. I would say more so fine, but it was okay. I feel like thrillers have not been hitting for me the way they used to. I feel like I'm either really critical. It's either like a me problem, I'm super critical, or I just haven't been finding any that really shocked me or really enticed me, which sucks because that was a genre I always went to for that, and I just haven't been finding it lately. Feel free to give me recommendations, but yeah, it just hasn't been hitting like it used to. And then the next book, my second to last book that I finished, is Butcher and Blackbird, which coming from me is a wild choice, but shocker, it was one of our book club picks. And it's a dark romance about Butcher and Blackbird. Their real names are Rowan. Rowan is the boy's name, and the girl's name is... What is her name? Rowan and... Okay, I literally had to look it up. Her name's Sloane. So it's about Rowan and Sloane. They're both vigilantes that make sure the people that they are going after do not live on Earth anymore. And they met each other, and then they have this competition of who can get this person fast enough, and the winner gets to get another person I'm trying to not say too much, but basically it's a dark romance. If you look at the trigger warnings, there's so many, it's insane. When I read all that, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this, but it was so fun. Honestly, halfway through the book, I kind of forgot that it was dark romance because it was a lot of romance. Like, it was really good romance. And then towards the end, I was like, ooh, it was very gross and very gruesome. But I liked it. I rated it 4.25 stars, and I already downloaded Leather and Lark because they leave it on the teeniest bit of a cliffhanger. And so I'm like, okay, well, I want to read it. But it's actually very fun and like funny and kind of lighthearted at times, which is insane to say about a dark romance. But I really was pleasantly surprised, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. So it was a good one, and it kind of got me like hooked where I didn't want to stop reading, which hasn't been happening all the time. So I always love when that happens. So hopefully next time you see me, I'll have read Leather and Lark. And then I think Scythe and I'm not even gonna try. I cannot remember things for the life of me, but the third book just came out, so I definitely wanna, if Leather and Lark goes well, I'll probably read that one too. And then the last book that I read since we last talked was The Answer Is No by Fredrik Backman. It's a short story. It was only 67 pages, I believe. I read it in like an hour, and it was so fun. It reminded me so much of how much I love Fredrik Backman's writing, and I just had such a great time. It's basically about a person named Lucas who likes to be alone, and then a frying pan ruins his life and his happiness. And it's just funny, and it's quirky, and it's cute, and it has funny quotes, and it makes you smile and laugh and almost cry. Like, I almost cried in 67 pages, but it just reminded me how much I love Fredrik Backman's writing, and how sometimes you just need things like that just remind you that people are people, and everyone's trying their best and living their life, and I just love it. I love his books so much, so it was great. It was an enjoyable time, and honestly, it made me want to reread Anxious People really soon, so I probably will, because I just love him. I love his writing. And now we have to move on to what I'm currently reading. Let's start off with one of my most anticipated reads, which is a song. I'm a liar. This is Sunrise on the Reaping, and it's not Songbirds and Snakes. Sunrise on the Reaping. I don't have a dust cover on it because I'm trying my best, okay, to get through it. My mom texted me this the other day, which was literally hilarious. She's so funny. Have I finished The Hungry Games? I'm like, no, Mom. The Hungry Games have not been finished. Okay, I'm trying my best. But I am on page 256. There's 380 something pages. So I have like a little over 100 left. It's just so good. And I feel like I'm savoring it because I love being in the Hunger Games world. It's horrific and sad, but also I read Hunger Games when I was in middle school, and then more in high school. And then after that, I got to read it, you know, as an adult. And I, for some reason, had no idea that Songbirds and Snakes was coming out in a book form, and then I watched the movie and then read the book afterwards. But this is like the first, for me, Hunger Games coming out as an adult that I was going to the bookstore to find and seeing it before the movie comes out. And it's just a type of nostalgia and joy that I cannot bottle, and I wish I could, because I've just been having the best time kind of filling in the puzzle pieces with this book. I will say I have the worst memory ever. Like, my memory is actually insane how horrible it is. She's name dropping so many people in this book, and I genuinely can't remember who they are for the life of me. I had to look them up and then see their photo and be like, oh yeah, I know who you are. So I am making a reading vlog for this, and just prepare to be annoyed because I honestly can't remember most of the lore that's happening in here, but it's so good. And I'm hoping to finish today or tomorrow because I just need to finish, but it's so good. And I'm having a great time. And I just love when books bring you this joy and like immediately transport you somewhere, and that's what Hunger Games books does. So just having a great time, but also sad time. And hopefully next time I see you, I've finished this. Next up is The Berry Pickers. I bought this book from someone recommending it online, and then I wasn't getting to it. My aunt was really wanting me to start it because she's reading it for a book club, and I actually started it last night, and I'm already almost 50 pages in. It's a really easy read. It's about Indigenous workers who go pick berries every season, and it trails this family where the daughter goes missing, and then it's also following someone else who is kind of unsure about her upbringing and what's happened in her life. So it's really, really interesting. It's super easy to read. I don't find the writing to be super complicated or complex where it feels inaccessible, which I will say a lot of historical fictions kind of feel inaccessible, or at least are super boring in the beginning, but I love them by the end, but they're just really hard to get into. I don't find that with this book. I really want to keep reading, but I do need to finish The Hunger Games, but it's definitely going to be next. And I really know, like, anytime I start reading, I'm going to be fully immersed again. And I'm just really interested in where the story's going to go, and I can't wait to tell you what happens. Or maybe not tell you what happens, but tell you how I feel about it. And then the last book, I know I said I was reading A Court of Mist and Fury, but I'm literally 7 pages in, and I'd rather finish these books. So I'm not even including that. But the romance book I'm reading right now is The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford. I read Mile High back when only Mile High and The Right Move were out. So I read it a while ago, and I liked Mile High. I didn't have any like qualms with it, I guess. It was fine. I liked it. I kind of forgot about it. And then I never kept going, mostly because I knew a lot of people with names in these books, and I was like, no, I'm good. And then finally I gave in and I picked them all up. And so I just picked this book up yesterday, but I just knew I had to get started. So I have a feeling all 3 of these books will be finished, but definitely this one will be finished because I cannot wait to read Ryan and Indy's story and really get into it because I heard it's amazing. And then the last little section is going to be things I'm looking forward to. I am definitely going to start off with my order from Bibliostyles. I bought the Song of Achilles crew neck. I'm so excited. Look how cute it is. I'm so excited. So when that comes in, I'm definitely going to be wearing it in some of my videos because it's so cute and it makes me miss the Song of Achilles and Circe, and I need to reread Circe soon. And maybe even Song of Achilles. But I also need to read the books I have. So I don't know. I'm having a lot of dilemmas about rereading because I do have 31 books on my TBR, my physical TBR. And for me, I live in a small place and I don't like to have too many. And so for me, that's way too many to be like sitting there. And so as I reread books, I'm like, you have a lot of books that you need to read first. So I don't know. But I'm also really excited for 3 new books to come out. I honestly am really bad with remembering when they're coming out, and I'm honestly not going to be able to give you much information because, as I've said, my memory is horrific. But the 3 books that I'm super excited for are some of my favorite authors. So Frederick Bachman, of course, he's coming out with a book called My Friends, and I believe it is coming out in May. Honestly, I'll write it down there because knowing me, I'll get it wrong. But it's coming out in May. I don't even know what it's about. I don't even care. I cannot wait to read it. And then the next book that I'm really excited for is a book by Elodie Harper. Don't know when it's coming out, don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's gonna be all right here. I love Elodie Harper. Her writing is amazing. The Wolf Den is one of my favorite books I've ever read, and so anything by her I will be buying, and I can't wait to buy that book. And then the last book I'm really excited for is by Lola J. It's called The Manual for Good Wives, I believe, and it comes out, I thought it was February, but I think that was in the UK, so I'm gonna write down there when it comes out in the US. But I am so excited. I read The Attic Child by Lola J, and it was one of my favorite books last year, and it was a beautiful story. It was really heartbreaking, but it was beautiful and beautifully written, and so I just am really excited to read another book by her. That's all I have for you today on today's book chat. I feel like I've been having so much fun reading and really trying to prioritize enjoying reading and just reading things that make me excited. And I feel like in this video, I've been way happier than I've been lately when I talk about books. I don't know, I'm just having a really good time reading, and I would love to hear what you're reading if you've read any of these books. But thank you so much for coming to my channel. I always have the best time chatting with you, and I hope to see you in the next one.